was after meeting with Teresa Mazzullo that I learned that Mr. Roy vouched for facts he knew to be false. Soon after, Mr. Roy admitted that he purposely lied to me. After this disclosure, it was clear that he could no longer work in county government.
Monroe County Executive Cheryl D'Onofrio on Tuesday addressing the continuing controversy over the I-Square project and incorrect information about the project's status, releasing a political attack against the new county clerk. Now, 4 members of the COMIDA board have since resigned in the wake of this controversy. The deputy county executive, who was allegedly responsible for this transfer of information, has resigned as well. But for some, that's still not good enough. One of them joins us right now, Monroe County Legislator and former Rochester Police Chief Jim Sheppard. He's called for a state attorney general's investigation before the county executive's press conference yesterday. I believe you're still calling for one. Tell us why you didn't buy the county executive's explanation.
When this story first initially broke, she did a press conference and talked about the fact that her deputy county executive told her that someone from COMIDA had reached out to him. She did the press conference, and then shortly thereafter, she said that she was advised by Teresa Mazzullo that that conversation never took place, and then as a result, she requested his resignation. So it was pretty clear that if she had done a full inquiry, she would have known that there was a discrepancy between the two stories, and then that initial press conference would have been more correct than it was. Then in terms of the ability of the Monroe County Republican chair being able to reach into COMIDA, to direct certain activities for his own political agenda, it says that it could be done for a political agenda, it could be done for financial gain. It is not any number of things that could happen through that connection, through his ability to reach into county government.
From what you've been able to see from the outside, who do you believe is ultimately responsible here? Is it the county executive? Is it the Monroe County GOP chairman? Is it the deputy county executive, from what you've been able to see?
I think there's a number of people that are responsible. Obviously, Bill Riley has acknowledged that he did reach into county government and talk to somebody to get information. I believe that from the resignation of Deputy County Executive Roy, he did certain things to further that. We know that somebody from COMIDA or the attorney for COMIDA went out to the site to make a determination that they were out of compliance. Then someone generated a letter to say they were out of compliance. So all of that tells you that any number of people are responsible for this occurring. And with 4 people resigning from the board, it also says that they, in the interest of their own, maintaining their own integrity and integrity of the agency, chose not to be a part of it anymore.
The chairman has apologized. The county executive has apologized. What more do you think should happen here? I mean, obviously we've had 4 resignations already from the COMIDA board. Are you calling for more resignations? What do you want to see happen?
It's not a matter of people resigning, and I hate to see that people have chosen not to be on the board. But I do think that there should be a separation of Monroe County government and COMIDA. I think there should also be a circumstance where the Monroe County Republican chair cannot direct people to do his bidding for a political agenda. Those are the things that have to happen for it to be returned to the trust that the community of Monroe expects.
Should Cheryl D'Onofrio or Bill Riley resign, in your opinion?
That's not for me to decide. Obviously, he's an elected official in the town of Greece. That's for his constituents to make that determination. In terms of Monroe County, I think that in terms of what should occur is a full, complete investigation, then get all the facts, and then from those facts, determinations can be made to what can be done to correct the situation.
All right, here's the question, because if you're looking at this from the outside, obviously the DA's office has already looked into this situation, and I think many people, outside observers, can agree that there was some bad judgment here, certainly bad PR, the way that the administration handled this whole situation. But is there anything criminal here? You're a former law enforcement officer. The DA's office didn't find anything criminal here. What criminal, if anything, happened in your opinion?
Well, number one, the DA's office inquiry, which at the time that it was stated to take place was an informal inquiry. You're doing an informal inquiry right now by asking questions. So the fact that they didn't find anything, I don't think that it was a criminal investigation. So if you don't do a criminal investigation, you're not going to find any criminal wrong. I think that in terms of whether they should do it, whether it should be the state, if you go neutral and somebody comes in and they do an investigation, you get the facts, you can't say it's political, you can't say it's driven by somebody else's agenda.
Do you think the DA was incapable of taking a nonpartisan look at this?
I don't think it's a matter of being unable to take a nonpartisan look. I just think that from the initial start of that inquiry, it was said it was going to be informal. Well, what would you perceive an informal inquiry to be?
Obviously, we've heard about the Office of Public Integrity that we've been promised would start up. It hasn't started yet. I know a lot of people have been frustrated about that, including you. Considering it's not up and running yet, do you have any other suggestions on what could be used to replace that office in the time being? Who can keep an eye on situations like this? How could these situations be resolved before they get to this point?
Well, my colleagues in the Monroe County Leg in the Democratic Caucus, they made a referral to have a committee formed of county legislatures to initiate this investigation. There's also the possibility of establishing an interim director of the Office of Public Integrity, somebody that you can put in that position who has investigative experience, who has legal experience, that could start the investigation, and then once you appoint someone, they can hand that investigation over. But to use the excuse that because you haven't appointed someone, you can't initiate an investigation, that's unacceptable. And me coming out of law enforcement, if the chief leaves the department, you immediately have somebody step up and take that place until permanent replacement is made. Same thing applies here. Even though you haven't established the office, you can put somebody there as an interim. You let them initiate the investigation. You don't wait till memories are lost, the facts sort of get faded. You lose some of your investigative abilities if you wait too long. What's
the holdup? Why hasn't this office gotten up and running? What's taking so long?
Well, I do know that they had a process. I believe the advertisement closed on May 6th. Once you close the advertisement, now you go through a process of interviews or reviewing resumes. Then you get down to your selection. Obviously, that hasn't occurred. I can understand that that takes some time. You don't want it to be in haste, but at the same time, there's no excuse for not doing something because there's definitely a black eye. What we don't want to have is two black eyes, and we don't want to be blind. I think that if we have a separation of COMIDA from Monroe County government, and there can be no external influence on COMIDA, that is what the citizens of Monroe should expect.
Okay. But before I let you go, a city-related question for you, because I know you did spend a lot of time as the police chief of the Rochester Police Department, and I know the red light camera program was instituted when you were in office. We had some numbers released this week, those in favor of the red light cameras, saying that it's reduced accidents at the locations where the cameras are. What was your experience with the program? Did you believe it was something that was worthwhile?
I definitely thought it was worthwhile because of the fact that it was, the cameras were placed based on the review of accidents and the review of accidents that resulted in injury. We knew what type of accidents were occurring at certain intersections, which normally were T-bone type accidents because people were either running red lights or proceeding right on red without coming to a full stop. I think the cameras have proved that they are effective in reducing bad behavior for people behind the wheel. And based on some of the data that I saw today, it's something that should continue.
There's obviously people who are unhappy with this program because they don't really know where the cameras are when they're driving around, which I know is the idea behind it as a deterrent. But at the same time, we saw from that same related information that showed that accidents had been lowered, but the number of people who are running red lights hasn't been lowered. So is it really effective, and do you understand the frustration that people have with this program?
Well, one thing, a lot of times when traffic enforcement is done by a human being, a police officer in a car, one of the things that we always had to deal with was people upset with their demeanor or how they were making a decision to issue a ticket. The camera doesn't have any prejudices. It just notices that you violated the traffic law and it issues the ticket. So I think in one sense, people should be happy that there's no bias or prejudice involved in the issuing of a ticket. And the fact that the camera is something that you can go and look at it yourself and say, yep, I ran the red light, or yes, I failed to stop before the crosswalk, I think it's a good thing. And if it's something that changes the driving behavior of our vehicle operators and produces accidents, what more can you ask for?
A lot of people thought it was a money grab. Do you think that was fair?
It's unfair, and I say that in the sense that when we issue tickets, there's money involved. People are going to pay fines. But that also takes a human body. It takes officers away from doing proactive police work. So it gives us an opportunity, or gives the department an opportunity to put officers where they're most needed, as opposed to just basic traffic enforcement.
All right, well, that's all the time we have. Monroe County Legislator Jim Sheppard talking about the COMIDA I-Square controversy and the red light camera situation. We appreciate some of your time tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.